science major with a minor in philosophy, Matthew Delfino set himself apart early on in his career at St. Francis College. He participated in the Ladders to Leaders program run by the city's Department of Youth and Community Development and was selected to give a keynote address at Gracie Mansion for Mayor Bloomberg. While at St. Francis, Matthew also went to London to assist the Surrey Heath Youth Council organize events leading up to the Olympics. He interned for 2 summers at UBS, a financial giant, and participated in 2 Model United Nations conferences with other students from St. Francis. Matthew was also a member of the track and field team for 2 years. All of this while accruing a perfect 4.0 grade point. Now things are really coming full circle. His first internship at Ladders for Leaders was with Gartner, Inc., an information technology and research advisory company. He now plans to join that company full-time as a consultant with their state and local government practice. So without further ado,
wow. Normally, I like to exaggerate my own resume, but thank you, President Dugan, for doing that for me. Before we begin, I would just hope that we could all keep in our prayers the 275 schoolgirls in Nigeria and unfortunately didn't turn home. I know that it's every parent's worst nightmare to send their child to school and for them not to come home, so let's keep them in our prayers. Members of the Board of Trustees, President Dugan, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, fellow graduates, welcome. I'd like to first begin by thanking some people that are very special to me. Dr. Frank Macchiarola, of course, as has been noted, that passed away 2 years ago, but his presence and his service is still felt today. And his wife Mary is here, so I just wanted to say thank you for your scholarship and for your charity and for your service. Thank you. To my professors, Sister Senek, Dr. Galgan, and Dr. Sorrentino, for your lessons that have gone beyond the classroom and for your guidance, I thank you and I am grateful. More importantly, to my family, my stepmother, Sarah, my 4 brothers, sister, and my uncle. You were never reluctant to give your time, your money, or your words to me, and I'm grateful and I love you. To my father, I owe you so much. I felt every bit of your sacrifice throughout the years. You have given me lessons that I could not learn in the classroom, and strength that could not be gained in the gym. I love you. Let's just take a minute to be present. Recognize where you are. Look at the people around you. You are surrounded by greatness. I don't know what I'm going to miss most about this college, what we'll miss most. If it'll be the 8 a.m. philosophy classes, or the fact that those escalators never work when you needed them to. But we're going to miss it. You know, what world are we walking into, though? We live in a world riddled with speculation, skepticism, and governed by appearances. Our politics is filled with pessimism and attempts to deeply divide all of us. Our markets are reflective of a people whose interest lies solely in what they can acquire. A normal standardized education now includes immense specialization and technical training. In fact, the notion of a technical degree is so commonplace that coming to a small liberal arts commuter college like St. Francis is now breaking the norms of our society. But what a great choice we've made. The unique to the students of St. Francis College is that we all have a story of how we ended up here. For myself, my 4 brothers and I were raised by my father. And as a child, I would use all of these things, all these exogenous factors as excuses to misbehave, underperform, and be content with mediocrity. In the spring of 2010, when all of my friends were going away to university, I was here in New York. And at the time, I saw this as the biggest setback of my entire life. But what I didn't realize is that it was the biggest set up to success. You see, what I did was apply to a college that I'd never heard of in a borough that I'd never been to. Some may call that irrational, but I was guided by faith. You don't have to look too far into this audience to see other people here that followed down that same path. Students like Akeem Brooks, a native from Kingston, Jamaica, Marco Zabuski, a native from Serbia, Victor from Sweden. We were all here. When we came to St. Francis College, we were taught the lesson of the Franciscan brothers that came to Brooklyn to promote lifelong education for the underserved and instill the values of humility, community, and service to all. Those Franciscan brothers must be proud of how far we've come. But it begged the question in my mind, at least, of how could a group of men, though they were men of the cloth, be committed to a cause that was ultimately so outside of themselves? The truth is, they were motivated by purpose and by service. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, if you have nothing to die for, you have nothing to live for. Class of 2014, what is burning in your hearts? What is burning in your heart so much that you would adopt a cause that you'd be willing to die for? You see, what we're talking about is purpose. And your purpose is connected to a contribution. It's not just what teaches us, but it's what teaches others. At St. Francis, we don't just graduate with a bachelor's degree in communications or economics or political science, but rather we graduate with a mission to serve. We aren't gifted for ourselves. We're gifted for others. We see enough of the material world, the world of appearances. Those pleasures will come, but it is not the telos, it is not the end in itself. Ultimately, nobody remembers the things you've had, but they will remember the lives that you've touched. Live purposefully. In so doing, you will make manifest of the glory of God within you. All of us are in a position to do so. Theodore Roosevelt once said, do what you can with what you have, where you are. It's possible to get started today. You can't start where you're not. You have to start where you are. How many of us here know someone who says, next semester I'm going to get my grades up. Next month I'm going to go to the gym. I see a few guilty faces. Next month I'm going to go to the gym. If you commit yourself so much to the long term, you will miss out on all the opportunities that exist right in front of you. Be micro-ambitious in relentless pursuit of short-term goals, and the benefits in the long term will be exponential. I know when I stopped looking a couple years down the line, I was able to see the beautiful city of New York that existed right in front of my eyes, and the gem of St. Francis in the periphery. Ladies and gentlemen, don't wait around for opportunity to present itself. Live an on-purpose life. We are autonomous individuals. We are past the point of blaming others for our transgressions. Being here today proves that we are not the product of the circumstances in our lives, but rather we are the product of our aspirations. We don't look like what we've been through. We don't look like struggle. We don't look like inequality. We don't look like hunger and poverty. We look like doctors and lawyers and entrepreneurs and engineers. Class of 2014 2014, remember the general lessons of this college. We view education not as a privilege, but as a basic human right. We aren't trying to build walls, but we're trying to build bridges. We believe diversity is the gateway to prosperity. Remember today, class of 2014, it is the commencement, it is the end, not the beginning. We must remain steadfast, committed, and unshakable. Take all of the skills, the strength, the confidence that you've gained from this college to embrace your own futures, define your own success, and turn your ambitions into reality. Class of 2014, live for a cause that you'd be willing to die for. Continue to walk by faith. It is our time.